The following is a DW Ancient Egypt production. The buildup to the Battle of Kadesh involved his early campaigns into Canaan. The first took place in year 4 and involved a Canaanite prince who was mortally wounded by an Egyptian archer. The Canaanite army was subsequently routed, and these princes were carried off as prisoners to Egypt. During this campaign, Ramesses II captured the Hittite vassal state of Amurru. In response, the king of the Hittites, Muwatallis II, marched south into Kadesh to confront the Egyptians. In year 5, Ramesses gathered together one of the greatest forces of Egyptian troops ever seen, about 20,000 men who were organized into 4 divisions of 5,000 each, named respectfully after the gods Amun, Ra, Ptah, and Seth. His chariot force numbered around 2,000. Muwatallis II assembled an even greater army with about 20 to 40,000 men and 3,000 chariots. Ramesses II set out from his new capital of Paramses and, following in Thutmose III's footsteps some 200 years earlier, moved up through the Gaza Strip. With such a large army, which included the baggage trains and camp followers, the movement north was slow and extended over a vast area. About 7 miles south from Kadesh, Ramesses II and the advance guard captured 2 spies who reported that the Hittite army was over 100 miles to the north. Ramesses II, therefore, moved forward confidently with the 1st Division Amun, crossing the Orontes River and camping to the west of Kadesh. He was soon shaken, however, when 2 more spies were caught who revealed under torture that the Hittite army was just on the other side of Kadesh. Without time to react, Hittite chariots crossed the river and charged the middle of the Ra division and began making their way to his location. The Ra division was caught in the open and scattered in all directions. The Hittite chariotry then rounded north and attacked the Egyptian camp, crashing through the Amun division, causing panic. Ramesses II described this scene of being deserted and left to deal with the enemy alone. No officer was with me, no charioteer, no soldier of the army, no shield bearer. I was before them like Seth in his moment. I found the mass of the chariots in whose midst I was, scattering them before my horses. Although dramatized, Ramesses II did personally lead several charges into the Hittite ranks, together with his personal guard, some of the chariots from the Amun division, and survivors from the routed division of Ra. The Hittites, who believed their enemies to be totally routed, stopped to plunder the Egyptian camp, and in doing so became easy targets for Ramesses II's counterattack. They drove the looters back towards the Orontes River, while in the ensuing pursuit, the heavier Hittite chariots were easily overtaken and dispatched by the lighter, faster Egyptian chariots. The Prince of Aleppo, fighting with the Hittites, nearly drowned, and his predicament was ridiculed in Egyptian records. Muwatallis II ordered a second attack after quickly regrouping, but abandoned the idea upon observing the Ptah division, which had finally arrived from the south. By this point, nightfall had set in. Like most other ancient armies, they did not fight at night, so both armies settled into their respective camps. The next day, the Egyptians and Hittites fought to a standoff. The Hittite army was ultimately forced to retreat, but the Egyptians were unsuccessful in capturing Kadesh. Logistically unable to support a long siege of the walled city of Kadesh, Ramesses II returned to Egypt. Further campaigns were undertaken against the Hittites in subsequent years, but eventually Ramesses II realized that he could not hold the northern reaches of Syria, just as the Hittites could not control the south. Internal troubles and growing Assyrian threats to the east made the now Hittite king, Hattusili III, cease the annual attacks against Egypt. The running borderland conflicts were finally ended some 15 years after the Battle of Kadesh by an official peace treaty in the 21st year of Ramesses II's reign, roughly 1258 BC. The treaty survives carved on the walls of Karnak and the Ramesseum in Egypt. The Hittite version has also been discovered, by one of those coincidences of fate, in the Hittite capital at Hattusis. An enlarged replica of the Kadesh Agreement would later hang on the wall of the United Nations headquarters as the earliest international peace treaty known to historians. The relationship between the two countries seems to have become somewhat peaceful after this time. Hattusili III asked Ramesses for an Egyptian physician for his sister who couldn't have children. The Egyptian medicine had such specialists as gynecologists and eye doctors, which were highly sought after throughout the ancient world. In a return letter, Ramesses joked that his sister was past the age of childbearing, but sent the physician anyway. During his early reign, Ramesses II also campaigned south of the First Cataract in Nubia. Not surprisingly, a wall in one of Ramesses' temples says that he had to fight one battle with the Nubians without help from his soldiers. In reality, by the time of Ramesses II, Nubia had been an Egyptian colony for over 200 years.